Hey everybody, it's Cosmo Solutions 8, and in this video I want to show you how to use Google's video ad sequencing feature inside of Google Ads. This is a phenomenal product. I'm really kind of excited to dig into it for us personally. It's something that I plan on using quite a bit. What's cool about it is it allows you to define a sequence of videos that users will see as you're advertising to them. So you can say, I want somebody to have to see video 1 before they move on to video 2. And then from video 2, they move on to video 3. But what's even cooler is there's conditional logic. So if somebody skips, let's say that they see video 1 and you push them to video 2, and then they skip video 2, you can apply logic that allows them to, instead of seeing video 3, now you're going to have we'll have a 3A and a 3B. And I realize that gets a little rabbit holey, but just start to consider the ability to tell a story in a multi-phased approach. So what this kind of reminds me of an email nurture, really. We used to take those long form sales letters that we would send out, and we turn them sideways. So it's a sideways sales letter to steal from, I forget who came up with that. Might have been Frank Kern, but we're going to take snippets of information that folks need. And what's really cool about this is you kind of get to put them into a sales funnel and then nurture them down that funnel. But it's according to your own narrative, and you get to tell your story. And you get to do so in a way that allows you to be sure that they have the context that they need to understand each piece of it. So anyway, before I nerd out too much, let's just dive into it. And I'm going to bumble along, and we'll do this together. So we're going to go new campaign, and hopefully you can navigate that far for yourself. I'm going to actually create a campaign without a goal guidance, just because I tend to find that to be a little bit easier. Anytime you choose goal guidance, it restricts what's available to you. And then we're going to select video. And then from video, we've got a couple of options here. I'm going to choose ad sequence. That's what this video is about. Now, there's a bunch to play with. So if you're interested in, advertising on YouTube or using video ads in general, make sure that you spend some time kind of getting to know some of these different options. But we're going to select ad sequence. And I'd like to read this to you. I know you can read yourself, but there's something that, I think audible input of information can help. Google says, tell your story by showing ads in a particular sequence to individual viewers with skippable in-stream ads, non-skippable in-stream ads, bumper ads, or a mix. So you get to use multiple ad types in order to begin telling the story to your users. I think this is especially helpful for anybody who has a product or service that has some confusion around it, requires a little bit in the way of edification. There's learning behind being able to engage. So if you're dealing with an educated consumer and a product that requires some education, this is perfect for you. So we're going to select continue, and I'm just going to call this video sequence number 1. And here's what's interesting. So we have two options for bid strategy. There's target CPM and maximum cost per view. I would not recommend selecting a maximum CPV, especially if this is your very first time trying this, because you don't know what the max can or should be. So instead, we're going to say target CPM, and the benefit we'll have here is Google's going to help us with some of those estimates. And target CPM, incidentally, if you're not familiar, is target cost per milli, which is cost per 1,000 views. And this is a pretty consistent and traditional bid strategy for most advertising networks, Google included. So we're going to leave target CPM there. And here's what's really interesting about your budget is this is one of the few campaigns where I think a start and an end date are really helpful. And let's say that I'd say my budget is $1,000 and my end date is the 31st. I'm going to have a budget of $166 a day. So we want an end date so Google kind of knows how they should be spreading their budget around. And you'll get a sense as to how well the campaign is performing and whether or not you should be, increasing your budget based off of, view rates, whether or not people are making it all the way through your funnel, etc. So put something here that you're comfortable with, and then I'd recommend testing this for 2 to 3 weeks, I think at a minimum in the beginning. And that's something that you can expand upon later, depending on how your campaign performs. And I don't think you need to spend $1,000, by the way. I think you can actually test this with a couple $100, because a lot of these views tend to be pretty inexpensive. Networks, we're going to be limited here. Google's not going to give us the opportunity to select anything but YouTube videos, which is fine. And it makes sense because this is such an ultra-specific marketing approach. I'm going to choose America here in locations. You can choose to expand beyond. One thing to be aware of is if you do expand beyond into other countries, there are some network limitations when you're using YouTube videos, which you probably already know about if you're in advertising in those other countries. For this type of campaign, I'm actually going to select English because I want to make sure that my videos are showing up on English language channels, and that is going to you just want to make sure that you have complete control over that. So choosing English. And now we're going to narrow down our audience. So this gets a little finicky. I don't love making demographic decisions in the beginning, especially for an exploratory campaign, because you might now if you're AARP and you know for a fact who your customer is, then maybe you begin narrowing down. The problem with that, though, is we don't know what computer device that they're on. We don't know who set it up. We don't know what the settings are like. We don't know how consistent they are. So I prefer to leave things a little bit broad and trust that the media will attract and repel the right prospect. And Google's actually going to kind of do this for you automatically. So if you are going to an older demographic, it stands to reason that they're going to be the ones that are most interested and engaged in your video, and the younger people are going to be less engaged, and then Google's machine learning is going to nail that for you right out of the gate. So my soft opinion is we actually trust the machine here, and we don't narrow down demographically speaking. If you have a really strong use case for doing it, have at it. Audiences here, if you have audiences set up, you can have remarketing audiences if you want to use any of your custom audiences that have been built. Again, specific use case there for you based off of how it is that you're using the video ad sequence. I'm going to leave audiences alone. Now, this is where things get kind of finicky. Google's going to ask me what type of inventory I want to use. And really this means is how explosive am I willing to allow the content? So you'll notice expanded inventory includes excessive profanity, graphic sexual content, nudity, graphic violence, and serious injury. I would not recommend expanded inventory unless you're in a business where that is no big deal at all, because people are going to associate your product with this type of inventory. So, if you've got, if I were Funny or Die or Comedy Central, I might go expanded inventory. If you've got, a product that's adult leaning, then head expanded inventory. Standard inventory, this is most of the what Google has to offer. It does allow for some profanity, some sexual content, and you can actually compare the inventory types here, by the way, if you have any interest. I'm going to stick it out with the standard inventory. This tends to be kind of, I think, a safe place to live. The benefit you're going to have here is it's not as though people are going to be offended, because they're actually seeking out the videos that they're looking for. And it's not your video. Your video just appears in front of that video. So I don't mind standard inventory. If you're a church, let's say, or a political organization or nonprofit, you might want to go limited inventory. But I'm going to stay with standard inventory for now. And then we're going to not. Let me back up. Sorry, I thought this was devices. I'm going to exclude embedded YouTube videos and live stream videos. I don't want to show up on embedded videos, in my soft opinion, because somebody's on somebody else's site, and I just don't feel like that's from a marketing narrative standpoint the best place for me to go interrupt their attention. Now, you may change this. You may decide, hey, I actually want to show up in embedded YouTube videos. I mean, maybe you're going to show up on a competitor's page. Who knows? And then you can decide in terms of content label whether or not you're going to exclude any of these. I'm going to leave them alone for now. Under additional settings, make sure you have conversion tracking set up. We've got a ton of videos on how to do that, so I'm not going to do that in this video. But choose the conversion actions that you want to apply, assuming that you have conversion actions, because that's going to be critically important to measuring the efficacy of this campaign. We are not going to make any device adjustments. This I feel very strongly about. People they're cross-device browsers, and I don't think you can say, especially for something like video ad sequencing, we just want people to be able to see the videos that we want them to see in the order that we want them to see them in. We don't necessarily care what device that they're on, my opinion. The frequency overlap, this is interesting. You can choose the period of time where a person won't see an entire sequence more often than. So we can say a person's not going to see an entire sequence more often than 7 days, or you could be even more expansive here and say 30 days. I'm going to keep it at 7. And I think that's actually pretty appropriate. We're exposed to so much media and so much information that I don't feel like this is too aggressive at all. And then we've got our ad schedule here. I wouldn't mess with the ad schedule either. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I like to see what the data says first before we start making adjustments in that fashion. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create our sequence. In order to create our sequence, we actually have to be connected to a YouTube channel. So if you haven't done this, then you're going to go up to Tools and Settings, and then you're going to go to Linked Accounts. Where's Linked Accounts? There we go. And then inside of Linked Accounts, you're going to find YouTube and then connect a YouTube channel. So what I'm going to do is just use our Solutions 8 YouTube channel, and I'll just make sure to disconnect this later. Notice I only have 587 subscribers, and that's your fault, because I should have 1,000 subscribers, because I want to go live. So if you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, be cool. All right, so I've integrated the Solutions 8 YouTube channel. I'm going to say DM training just to remind myself what this link actually is and what it means. Now that I've done that, this shows up inside of my linked accounts. And then in the video campaign, when I go new step, what's really nifty about this is I can go pull any video from the Solutions 8 channel. So I'll just use this one. Where's my link? Bam. And now here's the dangers of broad match. So pausing real quick, I'm teaching you technical implementation, but the most important part of this video ad sequencing is the fact that you can build a story. So, and I don't need to teach you that. You already know how to tell stories. But remember, the very first videos, they're going to be their very first exposure to you. So make sure you have something that's attention grabbing, but that also, it's the introduction. It sets the stage. You know, it's in Princess Bride. It's when the grandpa comes in and opens up the book. You know what I mean? So you need to get really good at building media that allows people the opportunity to kind of get to know you in a way that will make the repetitive nature of this work. So, you know, you kind of want to let them know that, hey, this is step one, potentially. They don't need to know that multiple steps are coming, but you have to introduce yourself in a way that lets you come back and be recognized. So branded videos, you know, consistency, continuity, all those things. All of that said, I'm choosing random videos here because it's easier. And we're going to say this ad group name is video sequence number 1. Chosen the video. Now, there's 3 options here: skippable in-stream ads, bumper ad, non-skippable in-stream ads. You can only use a bumper ad if it's less than 6 seconds. Incidentally, I had a 7 or 8 second video, and it let me pick it. So Google seems to be a little bit flexible with that rule. But the bumper ads are going to show up before a video, and people can't skip them because they're so quick. The skippable in-stream ads, you've already seen these. These are videos that people can skip after the 5-second clock ticks down. And this, to be honest, generally is my preference. I don't like non-skippable ads because I think it pisses people off. It pisses me off. And you also don't want a 6-minute non-skippable. I don't think you're allowed that either. They have to have some limitation here. Yeah, 15 seconds or less. So we're going to choose a skippable in-stream ad. This is what I use almost exclusively, and bumper ads, but I won't use non-skippable in-stream ads, which is also why I didn't know how long they needed to be. Let me go get a URL here. So final URL. Display URL is fine. Call to action, let's just say join today. Headline, Google Ads. And boom, look at that, 15 characters. Advanced URL options for tracking if you have those tracking templates. I would auto-generate the images, the banners, excuse me. And then here's where our CPM target bid is. So Google says $4.61. I'm going to put $5. I just want to be able to see the way that the campaign performs. I'm not here to save money right now. I'm here to make sure that my campaign is performing and people are actually watching the ads. So then I'm going to say add to sequence. Here's where it gets really cool, is now I get to go next step. And Google gives you some advice here. Now, you get to decide what the transition is. Is it an impression, so they've been exposed to the video? Is it a full view, so they've actually viewed the video? Or is it a skip? This is really cool because if somebody skipped the video, you can now choose to give them a subsequent video. This is actually kind of a great way to think about it, to like split test the efficacy of videos. If they skipped video A, then I'm going to send them to video B. But this is where the logic is applied that I was mentioning to you. So we'll do number 2. And then let's just go find another video here. I'm choosing these at random. Don't judge me. I feel your judgment. We'll do skippable in-stream again. Always add a call to action. I don't know why you wouldn't, to be honest with you. I'm making these calls to action up, by the way. I'm not saying they're good. That's not what I'm saying. And then CPM is going to be $5 again. So saith Lord Google. And so on and so forth. Now, look at this. It's awesome. You get to build a funnel. So if somebody watches this video and skips it, they go here. If somebody watches this video and views it, then they go here, and so on and so forth. This is going to, I think, change the way we use video marketing. Like the importance of this can't be overstated. And I'm really excited to see some of what ends up resulting from it. That's a way too long video to use. And by the way, again, just the medium I'm selecting here is very spec. Let me choose one more just because I want you to see the way that the campaign manifests. So let's say that we were going to use this video, skippable in-stream. Call to action. Join today. Google Ads plan. We're a Google Ads agency, by the way. If you want help, we're here for you. Bam. Add to sequence. So now I've got my micro funnel. Okay. They watch this video. If they view it, they go there. If they don't, they go here. And so on and so forth. And I don't know, to be frank, how deep this train lies, because we've not gone much further than 2 lines of disassociation, but it'll be interesting to find out. So now I'm going to create the campaign and continue. And now you see the sequence path, and this is really important too. So the green arrow is view, the red arrow is skip, and I can see 1 to 2 and 1 to 2, but the different manifestations of that. And my nomenclature is off here. Forgive me, I didn't type that in the way that I should have. But really, what I should be doing is, let me go over to my campaigns, and I'm going to pause this. So this is going to give you the opportunity to begin to see how your videos are functioning as they cascade down this sales funnel, which is really cool. So I'm so excited about this. As you can tell, I know I'm super annoying at the moment, but and that's it. That's how you build the video ad sequence campaign inside of Google Ads. Now, obviously, there's more maybe nuance involved, and you'll dive into that yourself as you start to build these out. But I just wanted to kind of give you the quick and dirty, which is what I did. So would love your feedback, thoughts, ideas for implementation. Hit me in the comments. Thumbs up gives me a dopamine hit. Subscribe allows me to go live as soon as I get 1,000 subscribers. So please do that. And otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.